My name's Edward Hayes, and back then, at 22, I was just another black kid from the south side of Atlanta scraping by on dreams and diner tips. College was a pipe dream I'd clawed my way into at Georgia State, majoring in literature because stories were the only thing that made sense of this mess we call life. Nights, I'd sling plates at Waffle House, dodging grease burns and drunk rednecks who tipped in Confederate flags. Mornings, I'd bike to campus, backpack heavy with dog-eared copies of Baldwin and Hughes, whispering their words like prayers against the grind. That stormy Tuesday in October, I was cutting through the back roads to save gas, radio blasting Nina Simone's "Feeling Good" to drown out the world's noise. The sedan, a gleaming black Mercedes, probably cost more than my mom's house, veered wild, sparks flying as rubber met asphalt. I pulled over, pulse racing. In Georgia, you don't stop for breakdowns unless you're family or foolish. But foolishness runs in my blood. I grabbed my jack from the truck bed, the rain stinging my face like needles. The man, mid-40s, salt and pepper hair slicked back, face carved from old money and older secrets, paced like a caged panther. "Edward," I said, extending a hand slick with rain. "Need a lift?" He hesitated, those steel eyes narrowing. "Richard Thorne. And yeah, kid, I do." His voice was velvet over gravel, southern drawl polished at Ivy League halls. He didn't shake my hand, but he didn't walk away either. We worked in silence, me under the car, him holding the flashlight steady despite his trembling grip. Thunder cracked, and he flinched hard. "You okay, Mr. Thorne?" I grunted, torquing the last lug nut. "Richard," he corrected, softer now. "And no, not even close." He sank onto the curb, head in hands, the mighty oak of a man crumbling. I wiped my forehead, sat beside him. The rain eased to a drizzle, streetlights buzzing to life like hesitant fireflies. "What's eating you?" I asked, because in my world, you spill or you sink. He laughed, bitter as black coffee. "Everything. My life's a goddamn house of cards, Edward. Wife left last month. Company's bleeding cash. And tonight, board meeting in Buckhead. And this heap decides to die." He kicked the tire lightly, then met my gaze. "You? What's a guy like you doing out here in the sticks?" "Guy like me," I echoed, heat rising despite the chill. "You mean poor and black? Or just stupid for stopping?" His face fell. "God, no. I meant, you seem solid. Real. Not like the vultures circling my office." I shrugged, the compliment landing awkward. "Heading to class. Lit seminar on forbidden love in American novels. Irony, right?" He stood, offering a hand this time. I took it, warm, calloused from boardrooms, not books. "Forbidden love," he murmured. "Sounds like my wheelhouse." We loaded his spare, and as he slid behind the wheel, he paused. "Owe you dinner. The Waffle House on Peachtree. Tomorrow night. 8 sharp." I blinked. "You serious?" "Dead serious, Edward." His smile cracked the storm clouds. "You've got a good heart. Rare as hell these days." I drove home that night, windows fogged, Nina still crooning in my head. Good heart. Yeah, right. Mine was a battered muscle, scarred from high school crushes that ended in whispers and slammed lockers. Coming out in the South Side wasn't brave. It was survival, one fake smile at a time. But Richard Thorne? He was a plot twist I never saw coming. The next evening, I showed up at the diner in my one clean button-down, hair braided tight, nerves jangling like loose change. The place smelled of bacon and bleach, fluorescent lights humming over cracked vinyl booths. He was there, in the corner, tie loosened, nursing a coffee. No suit jacket, just shirt sleeves rolled up, revealing forearms veined like rivers on a map. "Edward." He stood, pulled out my chair like we'd done this 100 times. "You clean up nice. So do you, for a millionaire slumming it." I slid in, menu forgotten. We ordered. All the fixings. Hash browns scattered, waffles drowning in syrup. Talk flowed easy like the Chattahoochee after a flood. He spun tales of Wall Street conquests, boarding schools in Connecticut, a childhood shadowed by a father's belt and a mother's gin. I countered with Southside summers, block parties with Kool-Aid stands, my mom's gospel choir solos that could raise the dead. "You're a writer, aren't you?" he said, fork midway to his mouth. "The way you tell it, like poetry." I flushed, heat creeping up my neck. Just words, man. Helps make sense of the chaos. He leaned in, voice dropping. Chaos is my middle name. Thorn Enterprises, tech startups, real estate flips. Built it from my old man's scraps. But lately, feels like quicksand. I nodded, seeing the cracks in his armor. Why'd your wife leave? His jaw tightened. She said I was married to the job. Truth? I was married to hiding. He glanced away, fingers drumming the table. Hiding. The word hung heavy, electric. We talked till closing, the waitress eyeing us like we were trouble. Outside, under sodium lamps, he clapped my shoulder. This was good. Real good. Same time next week. Yeah, I said, heart tripping. I'd like that. As I drove off, his taillights fading in the rear view, I felt it. A spark, dangerous and bright. Forbidden love indeed. Weeks blurred into a rhythm. Diner dates that stretched into midnight drives. His Mercedes purring through Midtown's neon veins. Richard opened up like a book I'd been dying to read. His first crush on a Yale roommate, buried under frat boy bravado. The closet he'd locked himself in, key tossed into the Atlantic. It's not fear, he'd say, eyes on the dashboard. It's the empire. One whisper, and it crumbles. I'd share my fragments. The church youth group where I learned to pray away the devil's urges. The ex-boyfriend who ghosted after his daddy's shotgun sermon. Love's a risk, I'd counter. But hiding? That's death by inches. One night, after ribs at a hole-in-the-wall on Auburn Avenue, we parked overlooking the skyline. Atlanta sprawled below, a glittering beast of glass and grit. He turned to me, hand brushing mine on the gearshift. Edward, you make me want to burn it all down. My breath caught. His fingers laced through mine, rough, real. I leaned in, our foreheads touching, the air thick with unsaid vows. No kiss, not yet. But the promise hummed between us, louder than the city hum. That was the night I fell. Hard. But empires don't crumble quiet. Richard's world started bleeding into mine. Late calls from his assistant, excuses piling like unpaid bills. Bored sniffing around. He'd text at 2 a.m., gotta lay low. I understood. Or tried to. College ramped up. Papers on queer icons, shifts doubling at the diner. Mom noticed my glow. Teased about a mystery girl. Ma, it's complicated. I'd laugh, dodging the truth. Dad had passed young, heart attack at the mill, so her worry was my anchor, heavy but loving. Then came the first crack. A Friday, rain lashing the windows as I waited at our booth. He didn't show. Text, stuck in DC. Emergency. Rain check. I nursed coffee till it went cold, stomach twisting. By midnight, anger simmered. Everything okay? No reply. Saturday he called, voice ragged. Edward, I'm sorry. Father's will contested. Lawyers everywhere. It's cool. I lied. Because what else? Just miss you. Miss you more. A pause. Loaded. Come over Sunday? My place in Buckhead. Cook for you. Buckhead. The enclave of mansions and manicured lawns. Where folks like me were gardeners, not guests. Yeah, I said. I'd like that. His home was a fortress. Stone facade, columns like ancient guards, driveway curving past fountains that whispered wealth. I parked my truck beside his garage, out of place as a jaybird in a coal mine, and rang the bell, palms sweaty. He answered in jeans and a tee, barefoot, a far cry from the tycoon. Edward. His hug swallowed me, cologne and cedar. Inside, it was all leather and light. Floor-to-ceiling windows framing the woods, kitchen gleaming like a spaceship. We cooked gumbo for my recipe, his fancy cornbread. Laughter echoed, wine loosening tongues. After, on the couch, jazz crooning low, he pulled me close. This, us. It's the only real thing left. Our lips met then, tentative, then fierce. His stubble grazed my skin, hands mapping my back like lost treasure. It wasn't fire. It was homecoming, slow and sacred. We broke apart breathless, foreheads pressed. I love you, he whispered, words I'd hoarded like gold. Love you too, Richard. But love's a thief stealing time you don't have. His phone buzzed, endless. Ignore it, he growled. but the spell cracked. That night, as I left, he slipped a key into my palm. For when I'm gone, make it yours. I drove home under stars, key burning a hole in my pocket. Changed forever? Hell yeah. But the storm was just brewing. Winter crept in like a debtor, frosting Atlanta's edges while Richard and I carved our secret world. That key became my talisman. Nights in his king-sized bed, sheets tangled like our limbs, whispers tracing futures we half believed. Mornings, I'd wake to espresso and his murmurs. Stay, build with me. But daylight dragged him to boardrooms, me to lectures and grease traps. We texted sonnets. His clipped, mine sprawling bridges over the growing gulf. You're glowing, baby boy, Mom said over Sunday pot roast, her eyes sharp as shears. Church ladies buzzed about my late nights, but she just squeezed my hand. Whoever he is, he better be worth it. He is, Ma. Half-truth because Richard was a universe, vast, unknowable. But worth the ache? God, I hoped. The betrayal slithered in subtle, a serpent in Eden. First, the gifts. A leather jacket that fit like sin, a first edition of Giovanni's Room inscribed to my anchor. Then, the invites, his holiday gala, disguised as +1 for a colleague. I borrowed a tux from a dorm buddy, slicked my fade, stepped into his world. The ballroom at the St. Regis hummed with Atlanta's elite. Senators and comers bands, heiresses dripping diamonds. Richard's arm looped mine, casual to them, lifeline to me. Smile, he breathed, introducing me as Edward Hayes' rising lit star. Eyes lingered, curious, cold. His ex-wife, Lydia, glided by, blonde and brittle, martini in hand. New pet. Richard? How quaint. He stiffened, grip tightening. Business associate, darling. Behave. She laughed, venom sweet. Oh, I always do. Later, in the powder room line, she cornered me. He's using you, you know. Distraction from the mess. When the board finds out. Finds out what? I pressed, heart hammering. Her smile was a scalpel. That daddy's little empire runs on secrets. And yours? It'll be the first to spill. I told Richard later, in the car, rain sheeting the windshield. She's bluffing. He sighed, knuckles white on the wheel. Lydia's claws are real. But us? We're iron. We made love that night fierce, reclaiming ground. But doubt seeded, sprouting thorns. Spring bloomed betrayal full. I'd aced midterms, dreaming of grad school. Maybe even publishing that novel gnawing at my laptop. Richard promised backing. Anonymously. Your voice, Edward, deserves wings. One April dusk, key in hand, I let myself into his Buckhead lair. Voices drifted from the study, low, urgent. I froze, eavesdropping like a fool. Doc can't keep this up, Richard. The boy's a liability. A man's voice, oily, his COO, Victor Hale. Richard's reply edged steel. He's not a boy, and it's none of your goddamn business. Hale snorted. It is when shares tank. Whispers from the gala, your associate got too cozy. Boards calling emergency vote. Resign the distraction, or we vote you out. Silence thick as tar. Then Richard. Fine. Handle it. My blood iced. Handle it. Like I was a tire to patch, not a heart to hold. I burst in, door slamming. Handle me? Like what, Richard? A boardroom footnote. He whirled, face ashen. Hale smirked, slipping out with a nod. Evening, Mr. Hayes. Edward. Richard reached, but I jerked back. You knew. All this time, playing house while they sharpened knives. No. He raked hands through his hair. It's politics. They suspect. But I was fighting, I swear. Fighting. Laughter choked me, bitter. By planning my eviction? God. I'm the idiot who thought love trumped ledgers. His eyes shattered. I love you. That's not the lie. Then prove it. Tell them. Stand up. He sank into his desk chair, head bowed. I can't. Thorn Enterprises. It's my father's ghost. Lose it and I'm nothing. Nothing? I echoed, chest caving. You're everything to me. But if I'm just a ghost in your machine. I tossed the key on the blotter, silver clinking judgment. Goodbye, Richard. I stormed out, truck roaring into the night. Rain lashed again, mirroring the flood inside. How had I missed it? The late nights, the deflections, love as camouflage, not conquest. Days blurred to weeks. I ghosted his calls, buried in finals and fury. Mom found me crying over cold takeout. Boy, love ain't a chain. If it binds, cut loose. But cutting hurt holy hell. Campus blurred. Lectures on redemption arcs that mocked my wreckage. At the diner, I'd fumble orders, eyes scanning for his Mercedes like a junkie. Then the olive branch. A letter hand-delivered to my dorm. Thick vellum, his scrawl elegant. Edward, you're right. I built walls, not bridges. The boards circling, but without you, the empire's ash. Meet me? The highway where we started. Midnight. Let me fix this, us. Yours always, Richard. Midnight. The same stretch of blacktop, ghosts of that first storm. I went, fool that I am, truck idling under flickering lamps. He was there. Rain slicked again, no Mercedes, just a rental, humble. Edward. He stepped close, hands open. I resigned. Told the board everything. Hails out. Lydia's venom? Neutralized. My heart stuttered. You. What? Chose us. His voice cracked. Sold majority stake. Down to consultant, free finally. For you. Rain mingled with tears I didn't hide. Why now? Because losing you? That's the real bankruptcy. He cupped my face, thumbs tracing jaw. Marry me? Not today but someday. Build a life real, raw. I kissed him then, salt and storm, yes thundering silent. But as we broke apart, headlights pierced the dark. Two sedans, black as sin, screeching to halt. Men piled out. Suits, earpieces, hail at the helm, sneer intact. Thorn, you idiot. Think resignation saves you? SEC's on the line. Insider trades, your distractions the tip-off. Richard shoved me behind him. Back off, Victor. It's done.
Hale Lafet.
Not for you. Or your little secret. His gaze raked me, filthy. Boy toy testifies. Empire's dust. Panic clawed. Betrayal sequel, not just boardroom, but law. Richard's hand found mine, steel in squeeze. He touches you, he dies. Words hung powder keg. Sirens wailed distant, closing fast. The rain turned biblical. Sheets blurring the standoff into nightmare. Hale's goons fanned out, shadows in the storm, while Richard stood unyielding, my shield and sword. Call it off, he growled, phone in fist, dialing one-handed. I've got recordings, your schemes, the bribes. One tap, and you're the one in cuffs. Hale faltered, just a flicker, but it was enough. Bluff. Test me. Richard's voice boomed. Thunder's echo. Headlights caught his profile. Defiant, dauntless, the man I'd fallen for stripped bare. I stepped forward, rain masking my shake. Leave us be, man. Ain't worth the cage. Hale's eyes narrowed, calculating. Sirens swelled. Red-blue strobing the wet blacktop. This ain't over, Thorn. He barked retreats. Crew melting into cars. Taillights fleeing like rats. Cops swarmed seconds later, routine patrol drawn by the lights. Richard spun a yarn. Flat tire again. Old friends causing static. They bought it, barely, waving us off with warnings. We drove separate, my truck tailing his rental to a no-tell motel off I-85, neutral ground, walls thin as trust. Inside, room 7 smelled of mildew and mercy. He bolted the door, turned to me, drenched and drained. Edward. Arms enveloped, bodies colliding in relief. We sank to the bed, kisses frantic, then tender. Apologies woven in every touch. I almost lost you twice tonight. You didn't. I traced his scar, a faint line from boyhood brawl. But Hale. Handled.
L'œil est en route.
Clean slate or close. He pulled back, eyes searching. You still in? After the mess. I laughed, soft, true. In deeper than the Chattahoochee, Richard. But we do it right, no secrets. Dawn crept peach through curtains as we planned. His payout would fund a foundation. Youth literacy for kids like me, Atlantis Forgotten. I'd finish school, publish that novel, dedicate it to the man who taught me love's not a luxury, but a revolution. Summer scorched in, testing our vows. Lydia sued for half, Hale's shadows lingered. Anonymous tips to tabloids. Whispers of Thorn's scandal. We weathered hand in scarred hand. therapy sessions in Midtown where he unpacked closets, I mended fractures. Mom met him over backyard barbecue. Wary at first, then warm, her hug sealing approval. Treat my boy right, or gospel choir'll sing your funeral. Church hurt still. Stairs in the pews, sermons on unnatural unions. But Richard joined once, suit crisp, hand in mine during coffee hour. Your world's mine now, he'd say. We volunteered at the center, reading to wide-eyed boys who saw themselves in our story. Not fairy tale, but fight. Fall brought the climax no novel could script. Gala season again, but this time, ours. Thorn Foundation launch at the Fox Theater, marquee blazing stories unsilenced. Atlanta's elite mingled with Southside souls. My profs, his ex-board, Mom in her Sunday best. I stood at the podium, notes trembling. Richard's gaze my anchor from the wings. Tonight, I began voice steadying. We celebrate voices buried too long. Mine included. Gasps rippled as I outed us. Not with shame, but shine. Richard Thorne didn't just fix a tire that rainy night. He fixed me, showed love ain't owned by blood or boardrooms. It's chosen, every damn day. Applause thundered, but hail crashed it. Storming the stage, drunk on spite, Mike snatched. Lies. He's a fraud, embezzled millions, hid behind this. This abomination. Chaos erupted. Security swarming. Lydia smirking from the shadows. Richard vaulted on stage, tackling Hale in a blur of tucks and fury. Fists flew. Hale's wild, Richard's precise. Until cops hauled him off, bloodied but broken. In the green room, post-mayhem, Richard nursed a split lip, ice pack comical. Hero much, I teased, dabbing antiseptic. Worth it, he grinned, wincing. For you, always. Trials followed. Hale's empire unraveled, perjury piled on fraud. Lydia settled quiet, ghosts exorcised. Richard testified, uncloseted, front page in the AJC. Tech Titan comes out. Love over legacy. Winter wrapped us gentle that year. Thanksgiving at Mom's, turkey and truths. Christmas in Buckhead, tree strung with Baldwin quotes. Our rings simple gold, vowing forever sans fanfare. Years folded like well-worn pages. I published Tire Tracks and Truths bestseller, Baldwin nod from Oprah. Richard's foundation bloomed, libraries rising in food deserts. We adopted a son from the system, Jamal, 8 and fierce, teaching us fatherhood's raw grace. Ages crept, silver threading our hair. But love? It deepened roots in that rainy highway. One dusk, walking Piedmont Park, Jamal tossing frisbee ahead. Richard stopped, hand in mine. Changed forever? He murmured, echoing the night. I squeezed. Every day with you. He kissed my temple, soft as snowfall. Worth the flat. We watched the sun dip, city pulsing below. A testament. Betrayal breaks, but grace rebuilds. In America's fractured heart, we'd forged whole. Human, humbled, home. And that, friends, is the story not of millionaires or boys, but men who dared love loud. The end? Nah, just the turn of the page.